Well, good evening, everyone. How are you all doing tonight? No rain tonight, right? Did you get any rain yesterday? I had like a monsoon at my place. Our topic tonight is generative AI and jellybeans. I always like to theme whatever I'm doing. I teach at Gannon. I work part-time as an associate professor in the School of Education. So if you want to be a teacher, I teach you how to teach. And then I work part-time in the dean's office where I work with faculty and help with their development. So I teach them about things like AI. So I have a lot of experience in reading about AI, talking about AI, teaching about AI. But like most people who are in the field of AI, I am not an expert in AI because AI evolves every day. So it's really difficult to keep up on things that are happening. So when we go through the presentation tonight, I will do the best I can to be as current as I can, but things come out every day that are new and I can't read everything. There's AI for that, right? And I subtitled it Sweet Tools and Sticky Questions because these are some really sweet tools. These are really nice things. And they bring up a lot of sticky possibilities, a lot of sticky situations, and really things we have to think about. And I was saying just a moment ago that I teach college-age students, and they don't always recognize the stickiness. They don't always recognize the ethical, the environmental, the social, the economic impacts of things. They are risk takers. They want to try this new technology out and figure it out, right? So I'm glad to be speaking to a little bit more seasoned of a crowd than my 19-year-old students, and I hope we can have a good time this evening. Let's see here. So first, I went into an AI assistant called ChatGPT, and you may have heard of that in the news, and I typed in, ChatGPT, please make me an avatar similar to an M&M's figure, except looking like a jelly bean, and dress her so that she is prepared for summer. And this is what AI produced for me. So a really powerful tool, right? Really sweet that I could do that I could say, this is my vision, and it makes it come true. I have absolutely no artistic talent whatsoever, and yet I have a cute little avatar named Lee who is dressed for summertime. So tonight what we'll talk a little bit about is introduction to generative artificial intelligence. There are many types of artificial intelligence, and my topic tonight is specifically generative artificial intelligence. Generative means it makes stuff, like this avatar. So it makes things. After we talk a little bit about generally some AI things, I'll talk a little bit about how it impacts the world of work that I'm in. I'm in the education sphere. I teach future teachers. So I will talk a little bit about how it's impacting teaching and learning. And we're all learners. We're lifelong learners. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the impact on the world of work. And I'll give you some avenues that you can explore. I actually have some handouts that you can have at the end that have links. If you want to go learn more about AI, here's a website for that, and here's a website to watch a video, and so I have things for you if you want to extend your knowledge past tonight. Does that sound good? Yeah. All right. So, things you should know, good to know. Interrupt me if I get going too fast. My students often tell me that I start to talk really, really fast when I get excited, and then you can't keep up with me because I'm talking this fast. So if I start like, timeout, Forbes, just give me the timeout sign, because I do, when I get excited, tend to go super fast. Help yourself to the jelly beans in the back. There's a spoon in the dish so that you can enjoy the sweetness as well. They are the Starburst kind, which in my opinion are the best kind. If you need to respond to a call or a text while we're in this room, please step outside. This is being recorded. It's recording the back of your head, so that's not a big deal. It's recording the front of my face, much bigger deal. But if you need to step out, that way it won't pick up your call or whatever you're doing on the soundtrack. And then be kind to yourself and others. We may disagree at times, but let's do it in a respectful manner. So our introduction. I have a quick quiz from the Pew Research Center, a well-known research center. And it is a study of your awareness of artificial intelligence in everyday activities. So let me pull that up. Oh, hold on, I got to get out of that slideshow though. Click there. Let's open this up. This is a quick activity. All right, we're going to start this little quiz. Thinking about customer service. Did you know that AI is in your customer service? I think you all do, walking around. Many of you mentioned it. Which of the following uses artificial intelligence? A detailed, frequently asked questions webpage, an online survey sent to customers that allows them to provide feedback, a contact page with a form available to customers to provide feedback, or a chat bot that pops up on the page and immediately answers your customer service questions. All of them, or the last one is not sure. I'll tell you that I can only click on one. It's not going to let me click on all of them, and all of them is not a choice. Chatbot. I've got a strong group of people speaking out for that one. All right. When playing music, which of the following uses artificial intelligence? Using Bluetooth to connect to a wireless speaker, and some of you have that in your car, right? A playlist recommendation, so it comes up and it says, based on your listening, we think you'd also like this. A wireless internet connection, so tonight I had to connect to the library's wireless. Or shuffle play from a chosen playlist. We think the playlist recommendation or the shuffle play. I heard playlist. Recommendation. All right, there we go. Next. When using email, which of the following uses artificial intelligence? Email service marking an email as read after you open it. So you read it and it changes, it's not bold anymore in my email. Email service allowing you to schedule an email to send in the future. So I'm up at 2 a.m. typing email. I schedule it to go out at 8 a.m. so I don't interrupt people. Email service categorizing it as spam, so putting it in a spam folder for you, or sorting by time and date. The spam. We've got a group that says spam. All right. Thinking about health problems. Which of the following uses artificial intelligence? Wearable fitness trackers, which I've got one on right here. Thermometers that are placed under someone's tongue to detect a fever. An at-home COVID-19 test, or a pulse oximeter that measures a person's oxygen level in the blood. The wearable fitness trackers, all right. Next, thinking about online shopping, which of the following uses artificial intelligence? Storage of account information such as shipping addresses, records of previous purchases, product recommendations based on previous purchases, product reviews from other customers. We have some Amazon users in the room. Thinking about devices in the home, which of the following uses artificial intelligence? Programming your home thermostat to change temperatures at certain times, a security camera that sends you an alert when an unrecognized person is nearby, programming a timer to control lights in a home to turn on and off, or an indicator light that turns red when a water filter needs to be replaced. Oh, everybody says security camera, all right. And it says you answered 6 questions correctly. In 2023, when they put this out, only 80% of people could answer those correctly. People weren't recognizing at that time what's in AI. So look at how much you already know. You recognized all of those situations, right? So in the last couple of years, since 2023, when you didn't know that information, you've already learned a great deal about what AI does. It jumps in and it communicates in place of a real person. It generates recommendations. It does all kinds of things, but always based on data that's given to it, like your previous purchase history, or my Fitbit does a sleep. It tells me how long I slept. It's never correct because it times you for how long you're motionless, and I am a tossy turn. I sleep well, but I toss and turn, so it says that I never get more than 2 hours of sleep at a time. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? So they work on the data that you give it. So do you remember the old saying, garbage in, garbage out? Do you remember hearing that at some point in your life? That's a lot of what we're dealing with AI. You put garbage data in, you're going to get poor results and things that don't make sense. And that's why AI is most likely not going to replace humans. It's not going, most likely, to take over the world. But we need to know what the parameters are, right? So I don't think it's anything to be super scared of, but you do need to keep learning and learning and learning. So we'll keep going here. All right, we took our quiz. The definition, I asked ChatGPT to define generative AI. Since it makes generative AI, I said, hey, ChatGPT, what are you? It's a set of rules used by a computer system to generate new content. So generative AI follows a certain set of rules. Those rules are based on what are called neural networks. Do you all know what a neural network is? Do you have an idea of what the word neural means? Brain, right? Okay, so your brain has lots of little spots in here that are connectors. They have synapses, and they actually fire off a little spark. And that's why you will have a warm body, because you're constantly creating these little electric sparks. Warms up your body a little bit. Your heart pumping also creates some heat, but there are things going on in your brain in this neural capacity, in this nervous system. And they are networked together. And they don't look like a neat network as though you had drawn it out like a spider web. They are mishmashy all over the place. And artificial intelligence is modeled on brain neural networks. So all the information that brain science has been producing about what part of the brain does this, what part of the brain does that, what pieces connect, is far enough along that they could teach a computer how to think like our brain thinks. If they give it enough information, it will work the same as your brain does. So that's kind of crazy, and it's often indistinguishable from human output, and it can make a lot of stuff. It could make text, so you could have it write something. I sometimes get mad, and I need to send an email to the person I'm mad at, and I don't want it to sound like I'm mad. I want it to sound nice. So I can put my email that I typed up that probably has a tone to it into the ChatGPT and ask it, please rewrite it so that this is nicer but still gets my point across. And it softens it a little bit for me. Video, it can make video clips. If you go to Sora, which is a product from OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT, Sora will actually, you can type in what you want and it will make you a little video clip. Is that crazy? A little video clip. Music, I'll show you some music tonight. Data, it can manufacture data sets for you to practice with. So for me, that's really helpful when I'm teaching my students how to look at assessment data on classroom students. It's nice for me to have a data set to work with. So it generates artificial students for me, each with a different profile, and generates data for me to work with. And I don't have to call any school and ask them to give me student data because they're not allowed to do that, right? We need to keep data secure. Presentations, it made this presentation tonight somewhat. It gave me the foundation for it. Humans are always necessary to go in and cut out what was bad, change up. It didn't come up with the Jellybean idea. So, and then graphics creates a lot of really impressive, neat graphics. So generative AI generates a lot of stuff. All right. Oh, my black jelly bean is crossed out. Aren't those your absolute? I don't like the black ones. So the starburst ones that are at the back don't have black jelly beans in them at all. So pretty sweet tools. So again, content creation. It can enable you to write and produce high quality text. And not just, I know educators are like, oh, they're going to write their term papers with AI. It can also create a marketing campaign for your small business. It can also create your Christmas newsletter. It can also create social media posts. So once a month, I can sit down and say, here are the special dates in September. I want to be active on social media. Create posts for me for the entire month, including these special dates. Creates a list of 30, 31 posts. I just have to remember to put them out there daily. Takes the load off of me, right? Frees me up to do other things. And that's really what the hope is with this type of artificial intelligence is it's going to make your life easier, not harder. Music generation. I am not a musician, but I do love music. And it allows me to compose pieces and make music if I so desire. Same thing with artworks and coding. I have to contact every student who inquires about taking an education course at Gannon. So it's juniors and seniors in high school. They get into our system, Lord knows how. And then my job is to call them or text every student who's interested in coming to Gannon in an education program. Not a single junior or senior ever answers their phone. Ever. I think even if I were their mom, they wouldn't answer. Texts, delete. They don't even look at them. We do know, interestingly enough, research shows that they open emails that have a good subject line. It has to be an impressive subject line and a subject line that draws them in. So I asked ChatGPT to write me these great subject lines, right? And then I thought, I don't know their emails. So I had it write me a little bit of code that would reveal to me. I asked it to tell me what the common emails at, for example, Central High are, or Fairview High, or General McLean High. What do they end with? Some of them are, I think Harbor Creek's is something with IU5 in it, and some of them have the school name in it. And it went out and it found all the different types of email addresses and told me what to look for. So it made my life a little bit easier that I knew how to format those emails. So, okay. So it gave me some coding, and I'm not a coding person. So it does things that I ordinarily couldn't do, but my brain says, how do you do that? I want to know how to do that. You all have that feeling once in a while, don't you? You're like, ooh, what did they just do? I want to do that too. ChatGPT has a big help for me. Some of the tools that I've used either now or in the past, Write Sonic, that's my social media one, tells me how to write social media posts. Perplexity helps me to, it's called an answer bank. So it specifically answers questions. I'm going to give you a handout so you don't even have to take pictures. I promise it'll have every one of these on it. I know how crappy they are. You've got the back of someone's head, you miss half the slide. Music generation. I use something called Boomy a lot. Boomy allows me, and I'm going to play one for you tonight, to play a piece of music based on something that I spoke. I just talked because I can't sing. In 4th grade, my teacher told me that I could stay in chorus as long as I only mouthed the words. So I don't sing. But, you know. Suno, Ava, Loudly are all things that you can go to. In arts, I use Stable Diffusion and Hotpot. Sora is the new one that's come out that makes videos. So you can go to Sora, make a video. Dolly, Playground, Midjourney, these are all names of different, products. Codex is a new one. It helps you with coding or Codium. So some of these are free because teachers only use free stuff. I don't know if you know that. We try our hardest, at least, to only use free stuff. So a lot of these are free or at least have a free trial that I can make 1,500 Gmail addresses and use with. So as long as I've got a new Gmail address, I can use them. I tend not to pay for anything. So let's see. Let's go to the next one. And there are tons and tons more of AI tools. In fact, there's a website titled, There's an AI for That. And you can go to this website and say, I want to use AI to blah, 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 and it'll bring you up the names of AI tools that do that task. So it's abbreviated TAAFT. There's an AI for that. So that's out there if you need it. I created the woman on the right using AI. I asked an AI bot to make a picture for me, and I gave it some general guidance, and this is what it came up with. Notice that it's a white woman, and we'll talk a little bit more about her in a moment. All right. Cool.
The kind of artificial intelligence technology that really dominates the applications we're seeing today is machine learning. Machine learning depends entirely on the information that you feed it.
The problem is that with real-world data, there's often information in there that you didn't intend to be in there, but is captured because of the bias in the data collection process.
So if you're building an AI to determine who gets a home loan or who should be charged with a crime, it could definitely bubble up the racial biases that humans and our current society already does.
A lot of what it needs to build less harmful AI is really systems that are including the perspectives of those that are most vulnerable and most marginalized, most likely to be hurt by the deployment of that system.
In many ways, I've worried that the people who are particularly vulnerable to AI are the people who are already underprivileged in many respects.
Most people in the world just have AI applied to them rather than playing an active role in guiding what AI gets applied to.
Everybody you know has a computer in their pocket. That's young people, old people, rich people, poor people. To me, that's actually quite exciting from a democratization of technology perspective. It means that AI, powerful as it is, could theoretically be in everybody's pockets,
so they talk a little bit about bias
benefiting
there,
everybody.
and the reason that
We should strive to make sure that things that provide value for society can be reached to anybody.
People like you and I who are flawed and have their own personal biases, who don't know everything about everybody in the world and have diverse perspectives. And sometimes those come through in AI. And they gave the example of racial profiling is a big one that we have to watch out for, because AI has been taught criminals are primarily Black and brown people. Criminals are primarily low-income earners. Criminals are primarily people who don't have a college education or technical training skills. So a lot of that has been built into the systems, and we really have to watch out for it. One of the things that is difficult is people who have Black and brown faces, when they get facial recognition, so you can look at your phone or your computer and unlock it sometimes it doesn't work for them because it's been trained on so many white faces. So it can cause some really big problems. If I can't unlock my phone and everybody else can, puts me a little bit behind, right? It makes the playing field not even. So that's one of those sticky situations. That's one of those things we have to think about. We have to improve the data that these models are being trained on. So what are they being trained on? Basically, there are data warehouses throughout the United States, and I'll show you a map in a little while of these data warehouses. And they are as big as a football field, filled with computers stacked on computer, stacked on computer, air conditioned, and they're full of our data from our doings in life, from when you buy something on Amazon, from when you go to the public library, from when you get on the internet at, I don't know where you go to eat, Starbucks. My daughter's frequently at Starbucks working. So all of that data is out there somewhere. It goes to these data warehouses, and that's the data that then goes into these machine models to train them. And so it's not really well filtered. And so it contains a lot of biases. I want to go back just a moment here to this slide. I asked Hot Pot was the one that I used to give me a picture of a what? Who does she represent? What do you think I was going for? A picture of a, what kind of woman is she? What do you think? I did not ask for a white woman. Astronaut, because she's wearing that sleek clothing, right? She's got the space age latex clothing, right? Okay, I didn't ask for that, but that's an excellent observation.
Rock star.
A rock star, why rock star?
That's what they're wearing these days.
All right, and she's got the loose hair, right? The loose, like, hair, kind of looks like she's been on stage, like, headbanging, right? All right. Anything else you can think of? I said it was around Mother's Day, and I said, make me a picture of a futuristic mother using the color palette of an artist named Piet Mondrian. He draws cubist things that are red, white, and yellow. So the red, white, and yellow is his color palette, because I wanted that color palette. The futuristic is because I asked for a mother in the future. What about her makes her a mother? Look closely. Look at the circles under this woman's eyes. So, isn't she looking off into space like she's hopeless? So I did this in front of my students in class, and immediately they noticed how tired she looked. And they're like, not all mothers look like that. I'm like, but that's what's been fed into AI, right? That's what's been fed into AI. That's the typical, everybody talks about how tired and overworked moms are. They don't, like, I thought that she would have a baby in her hands or holding a child or something, but no, she just looks tired and overwhelmed. And futuristic, I understood the rest of it. And then the fact that she's white, most AI, when you ask it to produce an image, is going to produce a white person, because pictures of white people are far more prevalent than pictures of people of color. So just some things to log into your head, reasons why we need to improve the data that's going into these big data warehouses, so that when it pulls it out, it really represents the diversity of people who make up America, not just a sad white woman. All right. I'm going to skip that one. All right. A quick lesson about the brain. So if you don't know anything about the brain, we're going to talk about it real quick here. There are lots of things going on in the world. If you have attention deficit, anybody want to self-reveal? Attention deficit? I will. I'm attention deficit, right? So shiny things catch my attention. The reason I have to close my classroom door, because otherwise I'm like, who's out in the hall? The reason I have to pull the shades when the lawn mowing guy is out there, because I'm the one in the room who's going, what's going on? But there are lots of things out there. Most of you can focus on one thing. Something will get you. Things for me that really get my attention, when I'm walking into the building in the morning, what is that smell? What is the smell in the morning that makes you have hope? Coffee. Coffee makes you have hope. So that gets my attention more than anyone else. Suddenly my mind is on coffee. Where is that coffee? Who made the coffee? How good is the coffee? Can I have a cup of coffee? All right, forgetting everything else that's around me. So first you attend to something, it goes into your working memory, which is very small compared to your long-term memory. Very small, meaning it can only hold about 7 pieces of information at a time. How long is an old-fashioned telephone number? 7 numbers. 7 numbers. Do you remember your phone number from when you were a kid?
Yep, sure.
Mine was 476-7040. Anybody else? There you go. And your brain can remember that for a couple of reasons. One, it fit into the limited capacity of 7 items, 7 digits. 2, you practiced it a number of times. You told people that when you were growing up. Do you know kids today don't know their phone numbers? Because they don't have to practice them. So it never makes it past the short-term memory into long-term memory. Years from now, they'll be like, I don't know what my number was. And they change phone numbers, right, when they get new carriers, new cell providers. So you had a far different way of growing up than kids today do. But this is essential. In order for people to learn, they have to practice things that matter to them and practice. And we call that learning when it goes into long-term memory and can be retrieved later. Retrieval means remembering. If it never makes it to long-term memory, you're not going to remember it. Have you had a grocery list to go to the grocery store and your significant other, your child, whoever said, don't forget to pick up that non-dairy creamer that I like. And then you come home with all the groceries except the non-dairy creamer. And why is that? It exceeded the 7 things that you can remember, and you didn't have it written down. If you had it written down, you'd have a better chance of remembering. But it exceeded that, and you hadn't practiced it. You hadn't said it like 20 times to yourself, non-dairy creamer, non-dairy creamer, non-dairy creamer, non-dairy creamer, to get it to persist with you, right? And sometimes we forget things before they even make it to long-term memory. Sometimes we can't recall things you go, oh, it was on the tip of my tongue, because you don't have the right retrieval cues to bring that information out. That's called use it or lose it. AI works exactly the same way. It trains on this information so that it brings frequently practiced information up quickly. So when I ask AI to write something for me, at this point, it knows my voice. It knows how I phrase things, and it will phrase things similar to me. It learns to be me. It's like cloning myself. That's crazy. But it writes like me, it takes pictures like I do, it knows how I operate because I'm using it frequently, and it remembers the things that I use frequently. Now, I had to help a doctoral student on something recently, and I said, put in this question, like, can you reformat this question? And it went back, it knows me so well, it went back into its archives about me and pulled information into this doctoral student's paper, and I had to say, no, we're not talking about me this time. It's not all about me right now. Working on somebody else. Because it'll get to know you so well. And they call these your personal assistants. So AI is supposed to be your personal assistant. It's going to get to know you, your preferences. In some cases, it now knows to put on your shopping list. If you use like Alexa for your shopping list, it knows when it's time to refill the toilet paper and puts it right on your shopping list for you because it knows what that rotation cycle is, like how often you buy things. So it gets to know whoever's using the tool most often. Is that frightening? And yet a little bit good because it's saving you from having to do all that mental work, frees up your mental world to do other things. A little scary, absolutely. So these tools, like this AI we're talking about, are not super new. Here's, by the way, I told you earlier about neural networks, and you can see how messy the brain's neural network is. That's an MRI scan with fluorescence to show a neural network. But we've had these tools come up in the past. One of them was when we taught students how to create graphic organizers. We taught them, do you remember diagramming sentences, or is that only me? Anybody else? They don't do that anymore. I was really good at that too. It's a long lost skill. But creating things that are like graphic organizers, like diagramming sentences, creating Venn diagrams. And people said, oh, that's terrible. They should have to write everything out longhand. Then at some point we introduced, we all know what this is, calculator. And teachers said, oh, we can't have them use calculators. They'll be illiterate, well, yeah, dependent. They won't know their numbers and how to do their basic facts. I use a calculator all the time, particularly when I'm at a restaurant and want to calculate the tip, right? I mean, I can do it in my head, but I'm kind of lazy because I know the calculator will do it. It didn't erase having to know math. We still have to know math. Why do you have to know math? Because you have to know when the output is right or wrong. Same thing with these new digital assistants that are coming out. Your digital assistant is something you'll be able to teach. And you'll be able to say to it, no, that's not what I want. And tell it, go back and redo, I wanted it in this format. You'll be able to really train your digital assistants to do what you want when you want it to do it. So that time is here in some areas of the world, but not yet in our daily life. And then ChatGPT is a new tool, and teachers are in an uproar over it. Oh my God, they'll never have critical thinking skills again. I'm like, well, they live in the world where they have to negotiate critical thinking every day off of the computer. They have to know what to order for lunch, how to go through a drive-through. They have to know how to interact with people who are older than them and different than them, people who are younger than them and different than they are. There's a whole lot of critical thinking that they're doing. I promise you, they're not going to completely go off the edge and not be critical thinkers anymore. Will we have to really focus on that skill? Yes. And that's why it's important that when we get this data from these AI tools, that we have somebody fact check it. You have to go and look at the data it gives you and see, is it good? Is it not good? And tell it to go back and redo if it's not good. The critical thinking part is still there. You're still reviewing everything that AI is producing for you. You're the one who's going to be in charge of quality control instead of somebody else. So with these new AI assistants, it's up to you to train them. All right. We're going to show you real quick a little bit of the power.
Do you know what GPT stands for?
I do. I have it in here somewhere. It's on a hidden slide. So I knew somebody was going to ask me, so I hid some of them. Generative pre-trained transformer. It transforms, the computer looks at everything in terms of what are called tokens, which are small groups of numbers that represent language. So it transforms those tokens or small bits of language through the training process to generate something new for you. So it's a generative pre-trained transformer. Look at that. I knew something. All right, I'm going to pull up ChatGPT here, and I'm going to cheat a little bit because I have a prepared thing here. I'm going to say to ChatGPT, I'm interested in models that focus on the future of investigative journalism. Investigative journalism. Hey, did you know that newspapers are still a thing? My daughter works for one. She's a reporter, like for real, for real. She goes out and talks to humans, and then she types it, and it goes out in a paper newspaper every day. Still a thing.
Where?
Meadville. She works for the Meadville Tribune. She was the editor at the Corey Journal for a while. She's in the Meadville Tribune now. And she's interested in figuring out, what's my future look like every day? Mom, our subscriptions keep going down. I'm going to be living in your house forever. And as the mother of a 26-year-old, and I just turned 60 last Sunday, I'm ready for her to be out. So we're going to look at, is there a framework for creating an institute on this topic in an area where newspapers are going out of business or experiencing steep financial difficulties? And let's see what happens. Because I don't know anything about this world, I'm going to ask. And you can see how quickly ChatGPT is answering me. And how much it's putting in there. And it ends by asking me a question like, hey, I've generated all this, you read it, what do you want me to do next? And it says, do you want me to draw up a framework? Yes, please do that. And the nicer I talk to ChatGPT, when I say please, it always is nice back to me. It says please back to me. So it gives me a charter framework of how I would go about doing this. And would you like a full proposal or bylaws? Would you like a one-page pitch deck summary? What would you like? And I would like these things. I want a business plan, I want a charter, I want a grant proposal template, I want a 3-year example budget, and I want a pitch deck so I can pitch this to the Jefferson Society. So I'm going to put that in. Perfect. You're essentially building the full launch package for your Investigative Journalism Institute. I'll break this down into the requested deliverables, showing you structured drafts and templates that you can refine so it knows that I'm supposed to have the last say. It's not creating anything that I'm ever going to put out into the world as, here's my product. I'm going to have to go in as the human and refine this stuff. So it gives me some cool name suggestions. Kiri, that's nice, okay. A business plan outline. It gives me the founding charter, gives me a grant proposal template so I can get some funding, a 3-year budget for what I might spend, $660,000, $565, $480, that's a lot of money I don't have in my pocket right now. And says, you're going to make slides about these things. And then it says, how would you like these delivered? And I can tell it, I want these as Microsoft Word documents and a PowerPoint presentation. It will create those as attachments and I can download them. And I can hand them to my daughter and say, here you go, sweetie. Go do that so you don't live with me forever. I don't think she'd take it very well if I did that. But I thought it was a good example of a way that you could use and how quickly it does this. And I could actually sit here and talk back and forth to it to have it refine things on the go. I'm more of a have it develop everything, I'll look at it, and then I'll come back later with some changes, things that I want. Isn't that lovely? How many of you want to start up your own business? That's how you do it. How many of you want to have a shop on Etsy because you do a cool craft? That's how you do it. This is how you figure out those things. You ask for help, and it's trained on a database of similar things, so it will help you. All right. So I wanted to show you how quick and how easy it is. And we know that quick and easy in the world of people means what? Quick and easy is not good quality. So we have to remember that we always want the human in the loop. So they talk a lot when they're talking about generative AI, about human in the loop, about the most important thing is the humans that the generative AI is serving. You, the person that's being served, is the most important person. So you have to continually be looking at that and giving feedback to the model saying, yes, this is good, no, this isn't good. Yes, this matches my needs, no, you're way off base. It doesn't know a lot about Erie, Pennsylvania, so sometimes I have to give it like demographics about Erie, or how many people subscribe to newspapers would probably be something I need to put into that prompt. And that information that you put in is called prompting. And some people just want to go in and ask a question. One sentence. That's really not sufficient when you're working with these generative AI models. You have to put in as much information as possible. Remember, garbage in, one sentence, really, garbage out. But if you put a lot of information about what you're looking for and what you need help with, you're going to get some quality results. Okay. Role of humans, want to just emphasize that 13 million times. Humans are very important here. You decide what to ask. You decide how much information to put in, and in this world, more equals better. The more information you can give these generative AI assistants, the better off your answers are going to be, the results are going to be. Provide context. That's where I was saying, if it's about Erie, I'm going to have to give it some information about Erie, or Fairview, or Meadville, or wherever. I have to tell it about the context. And then lastly, you have to evaluate the results. Don't ever just grab something and be like, done. My students very quickly find out that's not how we write term papers because they'll hand it in. I asked them to write me one paragraph about what the most effective, the most important quality of a teacher is. What would you say the most important quality of a teacher is?
Show up daily.
Keep the attention. What else?
Show up daily.
Show up daily. Show up. I love that. Get their attention. What else? Communication. Every one of the students in my freshman class turned in a paragraph about they have to be empathetic. Exactly. And so I had to go back to class and lay them all out and say, do we see a common theme here? And how many of you asked ChatGPT to write a paragraph for you? And they had.